Hey people, I had to put a shirt on today, so I thought I'd show my face. I'm going to try to get to the bottom of this in this. It might even take a series, but it's a lot of interesting stuff. You know, you have people writing books and making movies about the Nephilim. They'll make a 6-hour series out of just trying to interpret one word, and they skip every other word in there. You know, they try to get a reinterpretation for one word and add it to all the other misinterpretations. But I'm going to get to the bottom of this Nephilim, and I'm going to give you some proof of Nephilim being factual, and I'm going to give you some proof of Nephilim being a figment of imagination and a wake-up call. So if this is factual, I'd have to get a hold of some old friends and see if they would authorize a picture of it to prove it. But when I was growing up, I knew 2 separate families that had 6 tits. It was in the bloodline. It ran in the blood. The girls and the boys had them. And, you know, the middle set of nipples was just maybe a quarter-size nipples. And then the bottom set was just the dots. You couldn't see a nipple in the middle of it, but you could see the symmetrical dots. And it was running in the family, the girls and the boys. The reason I tell you this is this word right here, the onomasti. And this is the sons of the Nephilim is what it says. You know, and the giants were upon the earth in those days and after that. Continually entered the sons of God to the daughters of men and procreated for themselves. And those were the giants, the ones from the eon, the men of onomastoi. And so onomastoi, mastoi, if we just grab this right here and put it in the search, you know, all we gotta do is hit images and we can figure out that a mastoi is a Greek word for tits. The mastois, the baby's food. And the ono is given many definitions, but very many of them will say a ono means 6. The 6. Hawaiian, 6. You know, the ancient language, 6. You know, the ancient Polynesians say it was 6. In several of the Polynesian languages, 6. It looks to be in all the Polynesian languages it means 6. Samoan. But some will say ono means 1, just a few. You know, 1 masti or 6 masties. And I don't think it means either one of them. I think it means onum as toy. Because, you know, when you have 6 tits, only 2 of them work. The ones on bottom are just, they're as toy. Onum as toy. And this word for the giants, you know, the only time I ever heard this word, gigantes, and that's when I might have a Mexican work with me, and he's talking about that girl over there with the gigantes. They're huge, the gigantes. You know, a giga, you know, a mega is a great amount, and a giga is even more than that, a gigawatt. It's huge. You know, it's where your word, a G cup, you know, it's the biggest cup, I believe, is a G cup. The gigantes. You know, the gigantes has on epithages into his. Oh, the giants, the huge ones has on what you're wearing, not were, but wear. You know, what you have on, what you're wearing. Epithages in. And you know, in the Hebrew, you know, it's just the nipple. And then the I am plural, you know, the nipples. And who, H-I-W, who. And the nipples, who bears buoyancy. That's where the word buoyancy come from. And it's actually who bears rich. So the mark here says read the RX twice. And who bears rich, big buoyancy. The nipples, who bears rich buoyancy. And and then the dots up top here. Meum, hug, mucher and kin. And the nipples, whom bears rich buoyance. And big old base where they come from. And meum, hug 'em, mucher a kin. Well, I'm going to give her a hug every time in that day. I'm going to hug those in that day, and also every other time I can. The hug. the hug much, M-A-C-H, the mucher, in, and then backwards, N-I-N, and then can. Mucher and can, as much as I can. That's also where your word a hurry come from. It's after or behind. Whoever's the last one, they're in a hurry trying to catch up. And as arrive of Ben, when came the sons, but this is son is in S-U-N, as in Ben, period of time. And Ben, hello him, E-A-L-O, hello him. Been right there to greet when is arrived time. Been hello him. In all town by know it. All and backwards T. And that's why they do this. See, this is a O-W like this. It's the T-O-W-N, the town. And then B-Y. And the backwards, it's still the O-W. And by know it. And the whole town by know it. That he's right there to hello when arrive. And the whole town by know it had 'em and will duel 'em. And the whole town by know it had 'em, will duel 'em. Be ready to fight him, blood, the E-M-E, and it reads E-M-E-S, this dot underneath. The giverim ashore, the moo will man see. The giver is gift in plural, the giverum. The gava, the gift, the gaver, coming from gava, the gift. So when you Google every name and it says the gift of God, this is the only one that doesn't say the gift of God. They got it wrong. And the gifts assure the moo, two O's, and then W-L. The moo will man, and S-C, and then I. Man see the yeses from Y-E-S-E-S. This is your word Jesus, where it comes from right here. The Y-E-S-E-S and M, the yesism. Yes'em. They don't hear nothing you're saying. They're just looking down at the milk and saying yes to everything you say. That's the gifts. These gigantos, these big old nipples, who bears the rich buoyancy, with the rich buoyancy. If you want to get to these hugs, a mucher in the can, in you're dreaming milking the cow, is the mucher in can. And as arrive of time, hello him to greet, all happy about it. And all town by know it. Your daughters, they know the whole town. And all town by know it had 'em. Willed to, will them blood. And it was passed down in the bloodline, in the bloods. And the giver is assured, the moo will man see yeses from. But this fourth line, the wickedness of man. And it's two short lines, and this is the longest line at the end of this paragraph. But this first line in both these Bibles puts this in perspective a lot. In this Hebrew, it's called the wickedness of man. And it starts with these common words. You see, start many. And then this word here, they say, is began. And it looks nothing like any of the words for the beginning. And you see it has many meanings of profane, defile, pollute, desecrate, or begin. And so it was just given this meaning to fit here. And if you're new here, anything after these tacks, I read it backwards and forwards. And if you look at the movie with the big 1ST on there, the first, I'll give you a better idea of how I read all this. And so this is why they, it means who they, how they, and the wage, how it gets by. And this is a fancy way of making a W. And it's done like this for several reasons. Sometimes it reads different. And so it's just a W and then backwards L. And will H-E-H-L, will heal. And how they will heal Hadam Lorin. All in finish, had me of now tilled and will them. And wage will heal Hadam Lorin. All in finish had me of now tilled will them. And so it's God talk about how now it's my turn, and all in finish had me, and of now tilled will them. And here in the Greek it's called Noah finds favor, and it's the wage of it too. The N coming before a E turns it into a V, so it's exactly like it looks. Especially here, this is a gives, to give stay. And so this is W-E-G-E-V-E. And the wage of it too, a knickers onto, the knickers, to get on her knickers. Ahoy, to call on their affoy of folly. A poi of folly. A few mistakes. And folly, that's where your word fail comes from. A failure. And that's where this word fallen comes from. On there a few fail, a few fall. And give stay. That's something the judge does. He gives stay, and we'll hear this in 2 weeks. To stop going forward, to pause, to cease, to put it on hold. And so the wage of to her knickers onto oi is a call. Everything happens on the boat is a call. And it's the call of the wage of it onto the knickers are onto. To go hit the beach and find a knicker is any girl that you can find for the short time you're there. Kind of nick a piece. The knicker is on to call. And on there a foy, a few fail, to give stay, to pause, the epithages. And this is a word making fun of epitagy and epitome. It's a garment wore over the left shoulder, part of an academic or court dress. An epitome is a person or a thing that is a perfect example. And give stay epithages. And to gather is again it has on. Again it has on. What to is, of, and to, and is. And what to is the self is to them. This is just the 6th chapter. You just got into this book an hour ago. And the story began with a God created everything with a word, and as he spoke it, it came into being. And then he took a rest before creating man and woman out of his rib in the garden. And then a woman talks to a serpent, to in turn had them sewing together fig leaves for pants. And then water waddled, and they had 2 kids in one line. And one of them killed the other and then went off to start his own generations, where more water had waddled. And then the first man had more kids, and all his generations were living thousands of years. 969. And then comes a wage of it to a knickers unto call. On there a foy folly. Give stay. A pithages. What who gathers again it has on. What to is. Adontis the call. To joy. Va joy. To joy. To with thee out as. Together as tone. As fashion. On thereupon. At tickle-lay his the love on. Have to is. And to themselves the have. EAV the have to is. Gonna yak as a papasan on the selection to as they choose, the X on ETS it selects onto. So this is about planets bouncing around the heavens. And you can see it with this word here. This is, where your calendar come from. And it's Cali, it's black. And this is a base word for time. It's usually in the other Bible, it's read backwards and forwards, or forwards and backwards, at it. Or sometimes backwards first, and it's yet at the call. The call is the name of the day, where the planets are sitting. And the call lay his in. It's his call. And so the lovin is also the labin. And labin is what you do when you take bearings of stars that they took. To have, to is. Gonna yak as, gonna make word as a papasan on the selection. As the man, the papasan, has many to select from as they choose. So I'll read some more into this in this next movie. I'll get these next two lines down. This 3 and 4 is both long. And look some more at this word, Nephilim, which only comes up 3 times, and 2 times in the same lines. It only comes up in 2 lines in the Bible. And it's actually spelled different. You see here, it's missing the I between the P. Here it has the N-P-I-L-I-M. And here it's missing the I again. And so it's actually 3 different words. You can see the word in front of it with the tack, letting you know that it reads backwards. So actually none of these words read the same.
Don't forget. Hooty hoot, hooty hoot. I won't forget.
Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.